We're going to take a look at a couple problems from 10.2 and 10.3. The first one is page 522, number 11. It starts off with I to the power of negative 7. There's many different ways that you could have done this problem correctly. Taking from I to the power of negative 7, we think about what that actually is, which is 1 over the power of I to the 7, or sorry, 1 over I to the power of 7, because the negative power is the same as the positive power in the denominator. Then we multiplied both the numerator and the denominator by I to make this I to the 8th in the denominator over I, because we know I to the 8th is 1. There's other ways that you guys could have done this. You could have realized, when you do that, it's I over 1, which is just I. There's other ways that this could have been done. For example, we know 1 is the same as I to the 8th, so we got I to the 8th over I to the 7th. So to reduce that is just also I. Let's look at the next one. Let's look at page 529, number 15, and I ask you to solve this. Well, when you go ahead and you're looking at it, you're like, oh, it's a quadratic. And in that case, if it's a quadratic, we can do quadratic formula. So we have x equals the opposite of b plus or minus the square root b squared minus 4 times our a value times our c value, all over 2a. Well, from here we're going to simplify inside the square root first, which that will give us plus or minus 100i. It's going to be I because we're taking the square root of a negative here. This is the square root of negative 10,000. So then we divide by 50, so you got negative 10 divided by 50, which is negative 1/5, plus or minus 100i divided by 50, which is 2i. Now we're going to go ahead, we're going to look at one more. Let's see here, we're going to take one of these ones from 25 through 38. Let's go with 34. So in 34 we have 2 zeros, we have 3 plus I square root of 2, and 3 minus I square root of 2. So if we know those are the zeros, that means these are the factors. X minus 3 plus I square root of 2, and then x minus 3 minus I square root of 2. We're going to make this A, we're going to make this B. And so instead of having all of that, we really have x minus A and then x minus B. So we have x squared minus ax minus bx plus a times b. Now we can figure out what a times b is, because that is 3 plus I squared root of 2, and then times 3 minus I squared root of 2. I don't like the way I wrote that very much, so let's go ahead, let's write it again, so it's better off for double distributing. So we can double distribute. We have 9, and this is plus 3i square root of 2, and then minus 3i square root of 2, and then we have minus I squared from the I times the I, and the square root of 2 times the square root of 2 is 2. I squared is negative 1, negative of negative 1 is positive 1, so positive 1 times 2 is positive 2, so we have 9 plus 2, 11. These two are opposites and they'll cancel out. So a times b is 11. So that's this part here. This here, when we factor out the negative x, is a plus b. So we can go ahead and take a plus b. 3 plus 3 is the 6. So we have x squared minus 6x plus 11, and that's what this function is. if you went ahead into Pythagorean theorem, you'd go ahead and find that quadratic equation.